I want to know if you think Tommy is surprised that Cammie wants to roll the dice one last time with this. In the midst of everything, Monty being incapacitated, a huge risk on behalf of the company and the family. Are you surprised? Do you think Tommy's surprised that Cammie's down for it?
I think she's definitely down for it because, I mean, it's her husband's wish and she feels a responsibility to this. And she knows that I know the business and believes that we can handle it. I'm sure she's scared to death of it. But at the same time, I think, yes, willing to go for it, I believe. I mean, that's the impression that I get, and it's the feeling that I have when I talk to her, not to me, but within scenes. It's that seems to be the vibe. It's like, we got to jump off the cliff here. That, you know, it ain't going to be easy, but it's what Monty wanted, you know.
And this is a very different job for Tommy. I mean, every time we saw John Hamm on screen, he was in a boardroom or on a plane. Every time we saw you on screen, there was dust and oil and death and destruction, right? So talk to me about, I don't see Tommy kind of trading it all in and putting on a suit. So talk to me about how you think he might make this work for himself, at least in the near future.
I think Tommy is never going to get the Landman out of him. I mean, that's who he is. And I think we'll probably run things from that point of view, mostly. I mean, he does not want to be an executive guy. I don't think he wants to be in the suit, but I believe he'll do whatever it takes. I just think that he's going to bring along his experience as a landman and run it from that perspective. I think he's also, like Cammie, scared to death to do this, but you know, he owes it to his old buddy, you know, who he's worked for years. I'm hoping that there's not a big wardrobe fitting when I get to Texas, if that happens, you know, for a second season. I think Tommy would still wear some version of a white button-down Western shirt. You know.
There's a line, and I believe it's meant for a little bit of lightheartedness after some really heavy stuff in the finale, but Dale asked Tommy, you know, like, how are you doing mentally and emotionally? And he's like, I think I might start drinking again, ha ha ha. I'm like, no, wait, but this is like we saw this job literally kill Monty, and now Tommy has to do it, and we already know Tommy's scarred from like everything that's come before. Should we worry at all about Tommy kind of handling this load coming into the next season, if there is one?
Tommy's already stressed every day. Now he's gonna be, I assume, doing kind of two different jobs. I mean, Tommy's whole life is just a mess every day. I mean, you know, and there's so much responsibility. He's exhausted every minute. And then he's got Angela and his daughter there now, you know, Ainsley, and his son wants to be a landman. And it's like, are you kidding me? And now you got to be the guy. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that if there were a season 2, it would be full of a lot of stress. And, you know, I don't know if Tommy's joking about the drink. Yeah, it makes me want to have one just thinking about it.
This is a huge step up for Tommy. This is I mean, and it also seems like something where he's not going to be able to be doing the job the way he's been doing it, right?
Right.
I want to know what Angela might think of this change in status, right? It's definitely more money and it's definitely more status, but it's also so much responsibility, and it literally like.
You know what's interesting? I don't think that Angela counts the zeros.
Interesting.
I just think she needs to have the food she wants, go shopping when she wants, and have a roof over her head.
When they were like,
I don't think that she needs
$1,000, and she's just like, yeah, no
I
problem.
don't think she has any awareness of that. I really don't, and I know people like that.
Right.
And there's just, there's a way that they kind of walk through life where they don't check their credit card bills, and that is an area, that is real. And so I think that she doesn't do that. And I think that danger-wise, we're gonna watch them kind of be able to express these moments to each other, but how much they'll tell each other the truth and how much a lot of it's just gonna live between Tommy and Angela, and you'll have to be looking for it. So I think that she's happy for him. I think she wants him to be happy. There's something very pure about Angela, even though it's like, you go, the credit cards and the money and the clothes, but like there's something very earnest about her, and fun, and like she loves hard.
Andy Garcia, I was talking to Christian Wallace yesterday, and he was like, everyone was just like, Andy's on set, Andy's on set. I don't think you guys had worked together before, is that correct?
Andy and I have known each other for a long, long time, and but just socially. first time we'd ever worked together.
Take me through anything you want to tell me about those scenes because they're so good.
Well, there's something that happens, I think, when two old grizzled veterans get together, It's like we've both been in pretty sticky situations in movies and TV before, and have had to do pretty intense scenes, both of us. And every moment of it felt real. It didn't feel like we were, in a movie. I mean, Andy walks in with his thing. I walk in the room with my thing. We're a lot alike in some ways, in the ways we think as people, but we're also kind of in real life like Andy's character and my character. Andy dresses way better than I do. He's way smarter than I am. He knows more about the world than I do. And I'm kind of more like a Tommy, who's a little bit like the pig pen of Charlie Brown. I mean, so I think that marriage works very well. In other words, I think Taylor got the right people to play those guys against each other because of those differences.
Tommy was way smarter than all of the cartel people that he had handled before, right? Like Jimenez was violent, but not that bright. And it seems very much like Gallino is operating on Tommy's level, is thinking the same way Tommy does, is a strategist. And I'm wondering if Tommy's worried at all about kind of being matched that way.
The good news about now dealing with the top guy, the smartest guy, is that you can talk to him intelligently. And the bad news is he's a smart guy. And, there may be tricks up his sleeve that, that now Tommy he's got a real duel on his hands. It's not just somebody pulling a pistol on him. This now becomes a game of wits, an intelligence game. Tommy knows he's in for a real fight with that.
There's that very tender moment on the couch, right? She comes down in the morning. Tommy is beat up.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting, her reaction when he's like, there's gonna be things I can't tell you. And she doesn't even know the whole of it yet, right? Is she just like, yeah, I get it, I'm on board? Because it felt a little ambiguous there.
No, she was definitely like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was definitely like, no. But that's, again, where I think that me and Billy are saying something else. Like, we're thinking something else and saying one thing. I think that when you see someone that you love in that situation, she can't show him that she's gonna break. And so she walks out of the room and you see this just, and it really, there's just kind of deep love, and it's a moody, quiet scene. And it's just, I think it's beautiful.
The thing about it is Angela and Tommy, once again, just like me and Andy, they're very different people on the surface, but they obviously have a chemistry that neither one can live without. And I think this is the time in their lives where it's time to be back together. I mean, it's like, I think they both need each other right now. And as much of a pain as it is to be around each other, I mean, because I won't cooperate with her with what she wants to do, and she won't cooperate with me. And but it's because of that love and having kids together, and this time in their lives when they're both, Tommy, I think, is lonely, and a lot, and this is an old friend, no matter warts and all, this is an old friend, and vice versa for her. It's really fun to watch us two just argue, and at the end of it say, I love you, honey. You know what I mean? It's almost like, remember the Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason? Yeah. But at the end of the show, it was always like, I love you, baby. It's always like that. I love our relationship, actually. I just want to say before we go, we're suffering a lot of these fires here in town, and there are friends of mine who have lost their houses, and my family and I lost ours in '93 fire in Malibu, and so I've been there, and it's just a terrible time, and sometimes makes it hard to talk about entertainment, So I hope I was able to give you something, because our house is not even out of the woods yet. It's we're not there. We left, but every minute, you just don't know what's going to happen. So just my heart goes out to all the people for something that I've been through myself.